fun house, everything, the mirrored house that you went into, right? You're constantly going back to refill your tickets so that you could get on to more rides. I think about the Polar Express. That's the one that whips around backwards, goes so fast. Poor Janelle. She was much smaller than me, and she took the inside seat. So as we're, gravity is doing its thing or centrifugal force, I guess, is doing its thing as we're spinning around backwards, and I'm squishing her up against the middle seat. We learned our lesson. I took the inside seat after that. And the game where you've got to shoot the little BBs out of the gun and try and completely remove the red star from the paper. I was a farm kid. I was constantly shooting golfers and, a 22 or a pellet gun. I mean, this was a constant everyday thing. I stepped up to that game with the confidence of someone who clearly had no right to be confident, because I don't know how much money I pumped into that game. I don't think I ever completely removed that red star. There's always one tip of the star left, and so you don't win the prize. I'd have been better to take that money and just go out and buy a big stuffed animal and try and win one. What are your memories from the exhibition from years gone by? 1-877-332-8255. By the way, we threw this on our Facebook page. There's some great stuff on there. I'll read through that. You want to shoot us a text, please do. You want to send us a voice memo like we were talking about, you can do that, or you can give us a call at 1-877-332-8255. Exhibition memories. Why not start with our friend Ari in Saskatoon? You had to have been a big exhibition goer back in the day.
Not so much as a kid, more so as an adult.
Really?
Yeah. I used to volunteer with the Lions, and they had a dunk tank. And my brother and I would go and spend hours sitting in the dunk tank. And the key to the dunk, there's two things that make people want to dunk people: bikinis and big mouth.
And you filled one of those categories.
I did not fill a bikini well. So my brother and I were the mouthiest people on there, and people wanted to put us in the water just to shut us up.
Well, you were a great fundraiser. Think of it that way.
Oh, we had so much fun, and they actually had to put an extra volunteer between the button and the thrower, because sometimes people get so frustrated they would just try to jump over and hit the button.
Right. They just want to come up and push it with their hand. Yeah.
But there were guys who were you just get under their skin, and they're like, now their ego's involved, and they're in front of their girlfriend or their partner, or the whole crowd's egging them on, and they think they're some major league, ball pitcher, and they're not even getting close. You're thankful for the metal screen. I know I used to sit up there with a newspaper and read it.
Just egging people on.
Oh yeah, just flip it over, and that paper would never get wet.
Do they still have a dunk tank today?
No, I haven't seen one there for years.
Yeah. So many things change, right, through the years at the exhibition. Like we were talking about, and I've got a message here, a text that I'm going to read momentarily about. You remember the competitions, Ari, where you had to keep your hand on the car the longest?
There were so many great competitions. I had the pleasure of working there for 5 or 6 years in the trade shows, and we had this amazing lookalike contest when we did a cable trade show.
Really?
A&E came out, they sponsored it, and we ran out a Polaroid film because people would come dressed up, and you'd have to take a picture. Then there was a big pageant on the final night, but it was hilarious to see how many people bought in. And we had like the Gene Simmons, there was a Bill Clinton, Bill Pylon, I think was his name. It was a dead match for Bill Clinton. Just all sorts of people showed up, and it was just a neat thing to see people step up and do that. I don't think we see that anymore.
Yeah. Well, just quickly before I let you go, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. It feels to me like the exhibition, whether it's Pioneer Days in Saskatoon, Buffalo Days, used to be called in Regina. I mean, businesses would decorate, people would dress up. It was like a whole thing. It's changed a little bit.
It's gotten much more commercial and much less community.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Look at it.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Well, Ari, I always appreciate you joining the program. Thanks for your memories today.
Thanks, Evan.
Good to have you on. 1-877-332-8255. Let's go to Brian. We're reliving fair memories from our past. Brian, what have you got for me?
Yeah, well, when I was about 15 years old, I was still in high school. I joined the Mormon Church, or Latter-day Saint Church, right? And during the summer, we had the Spud Nut Hut. It was we made spud nuts. It was all volunteer service, right? And you'd go and you work 4 hours, and then you get free admission to the X, and that was my motivation. They got free, but prior to the X, we'd have I called it spud nut school, right? You would learn how to make the perfect spud nut. Well, Evan, I tried, and it's one of the skills I had a hard time gaining, but it was fun working with adults, and it was fun working with the youth of the church at that time. We had a great time, and they would say, Brian, we got a better job for you.
For people that don't know what a spud nut is, explain it, Brian.
Okay, a spud nut is made from we used to buy the flour from Utah. It would be shipped in. It was a spud nut flour, and it's a potato. It's a potato flour mixed, right, with other stuff, and it had quite the ingredients, right, and so we'd ship that in, and then we would make spud nuts, and we'd have a mixer. He would mix the dough, and then we had assembly lines, right? We had 2 cutters or 3 cutters, and they would cut the dough into balls, and then this was the hardest part. Then we had the formers. I can throw a baseball, but you think I could form a spud nut and make it into a perfect circle? That was one of my challenges.
There's clearly an art to this, Brian. Clearly an art to it.
Yeah, and so when I heard that the X was not doing spud nuts, I was sad.
Yeah,
because
it's end of an era. End of an era.
It is, but the challenge is that we found that within the church. We had it till the late '80s, and then the church gave it to the Scouts. And the challenge, as I got older and I was working in it more of a managerial, I found that the hardest thing was to get volunteers to come perform the spud nut.
Yeah, well, it's clearly the spud nuts is I've seen a number of people that are commenting on spud nuts. And how twisted they are that they're not there again. Thanks so much for the call, Brian. Cameron in Regina, I don't like the rides. I don't like the food. I don't like the games. I don't like the crowds. But I love to see the smiles and the excitement on the face of my son and his friends. So off we'll go. Frank in Pilot Butte. In the 80s, I had a Bryan Adams buzz cut at the PAX. I did not want to play this one game, but the guy running it was heckling me. It got to the point where he said to me, "Who does your hair? Weed and feed?" That stuck with me. Frank in Pilot Butte. Oh, the carnies, especially those ones that work the games. They'll suck you in, right? Sheldon in Estevan, best Buffalo Days memory, taking your first girlfriend to it and feeling like you're King Tut. Yeah, he says, he didn't say King Tut. He said King something else, but I can't read that on the air. And shooting the Red Star out. Come on. You did, Sheldon. You shot the Red Star out with the gun that had the crooked barrel, he adds. Back in the 60s and 70s, there were food stalls under the stadium. This is Mike from Regina. My aunt and uncle had a stall since my family lived a block north of the fairgrounds on Dudney. Our basement became a French fry factory with sacks and sacks of spuds going through our back door. 1-877-332-8255. So I mentioned the competition. I remember the competition that they used to have where you had to have your hand on a vehicle, and then the last person standing with their hand on the vehicle wins the vehicle. Like, that was a pretty big deal. Nathan with a text here from Regina. One of my absolute favorite memories would be back in the mid to late 80s as a kid, a contest they would have every year where you could win a car. Put your hand on the car at the beginning of the fair. You had to keep it on until you were the last one holding onto the car. So the entire week we would have to go to the fair because his father took a chance. His father was playing the competition. He says that they would have to go and give their father supplies like water and food and that sort of thing. He said, I got to go to the fair every single day, whether I was on the rides or not. But I got to see all the games and the lights and the craziness just because his dad was trying to win this car. Unfortunately, my father didn't win. He came in second. Oh, like that would hurt if you made it. It went the entire week. It was to the point where we were going to draw a name between the two contestants that were left because the fair was about to close and they had to pick a winner. And I don't know, he just let go of the car but it was a great experience. Unfortunate they don't do anything like that anymore. I do remember when they had those types of contests at the fair. Nathan, thanks so much for the text. 1-877-332-8255. What is your favorite exhibition memory from your youth? Give us a call. Shoot us a text. We'll come back and finish your thoughts here on 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
As heard on the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
This summer, the soundtrack gets louder. Hands in the air, voices singing every word. Then one more ride before the fireworks begin. The Queen City X, July 29th through August 2nd. Billy Dean and Colin Ray, Helix and Quiet Riot, Gordy Kiefer and Down with Webster, Dallas Smith and Arkells, with nightly entertainment, local bands, beer gardens, and a midway that keeps the thrill going. A safe, welcoming night out is all QCX. Turn up the fun. Get your tickets now at queencityx.com.
Crop Aid Nutrition.
Hi, it's Darren from Crop Aid Nutrition. Not sure what products or methods to use to enhance the health of your soil? Crop Aid Nutrition can help. We are a leader in plant, seed, and soil health, specializing in the latest science-based technologies for seed dressings, foliar fertilizers, and biostimulants. Our team would love to explain all the details of our products and the benefits they can bring to your farming operation. Let's maximize your yield. Visit cropaidnutrition.com.
You know that creepy brown stain that's growing on the ceiling in the office? It's not getting smaller. Before it drops down in a flopping, sopping mess, talk to ProGuard Roofing. Our modern roofing systems are designed for a good old Sask character building with a side of whiplash weather, flexing and stretching to keep your building dry. It lasts for decades. Get rid of that stain. Get a modern roof. I'm Larry King from ProGuard Roofing Refined. ProGuardRoof.ca, serving all of southern Saskatchewan.
The real food revolution is bigger and better than ever. Metro Pet Market North has officially moved to the new home at 4019 Rochdale Boulevard, just down the street from where they used to be. Even more premium pet products, all things pet health, a much larger shopping space, and an even better experience for you and your pets. Metro Pet Market. Now at 4019 Rochdale Boulevard on Victoria Avenue, Prince of Wales Drive, Instagram and Facebook, and at metropetunleashed.ca.
It's the little things that make a place feel like home. A sunny, spacious suite with your own kitchen, friendly faces who know your name, and even Sadie, the house cat, wandering by to say hello. At Broadway Terrace, life is active, social, connected, with home-cooked meals, wellness programs, and the freedom to live your day your way, with caring staff and support when you need it. Broadway Terrace, welcome home. Book your tour today.
If you farm in southern Saskatchewan, chances are you've already heard people talking about it. One of the largest premium farmland offerings to come available in years. Over 12,500 acres of exceptionally well-blocked cultivated land near Corona, just southeast of Regina. Quality land, outstanding location, available as a complete package or individual parcels. But don't wait. The tender closes August 11th at 12 p.m.
Call or visit shepherdrealty.ca today.
Over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for water heater needs. With 165,000 five-star reviews and decades of experience, Reliance Heath are trusted water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today and get a $200 check with promo code WATER200. Act today. Offer ends September 30th.
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
The Evan Bray Encore, the voice of Saskatchewan. The Evan Bray Show, 980 CJME.
Memories that you have about the exhibition from your youth, maybe they're more recent than that. Here's what I've learned is clearly I was just a bad shot, because many people are bragging that they were able to shoot the red star off the paper. You know what game I'm talking about? It's got the long gun, looks like a BB gun or something like that, and it shoots the little BBs. And you have so many in the gun, they load it, you watch the carny dump the BBs in. I don't know what you get, 30 BBs or whatever. And you've got to shoot it, and you try and be strategic. So you actually cut the circle out on the paper like they would do in the Lethal Weapon movies. You're that accurate. And of course, I question how accurate the guns were, but maybe I'm just making an excuse because people, Nick says he's done it he did it 3 times in one day. He won his son a giant Pikachu and his 2 little girls happy because they each got a giant stuffy. Well, good for you, Nick. You're a better shot. Sheldon was just bragging about he could do it. I could never do it. I might just go back to the X this year just to try it again. I don't know. 1-877-332-8255. Exhibition Memories, the Ukrainian Food Pavilion. How about that? I think they still have that, don't they? You get pierogies, cabbage rolls, sausage, you get all that kind of stuff. Julie in Battleford talks about the amazing borscht. No one ever came close then or now. But like Spud Nuts, the good food often relied on volunteers, and people just don't volunteer nowadays the way they used to. That's Julie in Battleford. Bruce in Bigger says, I guess my dad was a little more outgoing than your dad because he took us to Buffalo Days, but on the Sunday before exhibition started. Nothing was there, just a few food booths. He would call it Scotchman's Day. That's Bruce in Bigger. Well, hopefully you got a fiddlestick or something anyway. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep some texts here. So if you want to still text in 1-877-332-8255, I know I'll have time throughout the show to relive a few of your memories. So please feel free to keep sending them in. We'll take our break and come back to Saskatchewan's smartest radio listener next here on 650 CKOM 980 CJME.
The Evan Bray Encore. The voice of Saskatchewan. The Evan Bray Show, 980 CJME.
I just Googled hair restoration in Regina, and then I just kind of did my my due diligence, did my research, and felt really good after the consultation with Dr. B. Her level of confidence and just how humble she was about it as well too, right? I mean, she has a few years of experience under her belt there too, and myself working in the healthcare profession as well. When you're confident about what you do, you can deliver, right? And when you deliver good results, people talk.
Call today. Google Dahar hair restoration, proven by results.
During harvest, efficiency is everything. A grain cart ensures the combine keeps moving and shortens the required harvest window. Trust the Brent Avalanche Dual Auger Grain Cart from Unverfirth Manufacturing. They have the largest capacity, up to 3,150 bushels. Supporting these world-class carts is your choice of tires or tracks. Unloading up to 1,000 bushels a minute gets harvest done in a hurry. Check out the Brent Avalanche 98 Series grain carts at youngs.ca today.
Drop the tailgate and light the barbecue. Ukrainian Co-op is going to help you win this game day. Ukrainian Co-op has tons of summer options. Fresh in-store made burgers, marinated meats you drop on the grill. Plus, there's Ukrainian Co-op's famous sausage. Over 100 varieties to choose from, all perfectly smoked in Regina's only outdoor smokehouse. Butcher, deli, groceries. Just follow the smoke to the big flower building at the corner of Winnipeg and 11th. This game day, everyone wins, and everyone is welcome at Ukrainian Co-op.
On the next Evan Bray Show.
People often text in during It's Eaten Time with Belton Johnson with questions for the big guy. Well, now you've got a full hour to do just that. Belton Johnson joins the show for a full hour. We'll talk barbecue, meat smoking, and he'll answer your questions.
The Evan Bray Show, 8:30 to 12:30, 980 CJME. Your world is heard here. 980 CJME News, Talk, Sports. A Ralco radio station.
From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. The union representing 4,400 flight attendants at WestJet has issued 72-hour strike notice, paving the runway for a possible strike this weekend. The Canadian Union of Public Employees says the airline quickly followed the union's action by issuing a 72-hour lockout notice. Now, while serving strike notice does not guarantee flight attendants will hit picket lines, job action could begin as soon as Sunday at 12:01 a.m. Calgary time if no tentative contract agreement is reached. The union says the two sides remain far apart on key issues, including compensation for what it says is unpaid work on the ground. Calgary police say a boy who's been missing for nearly 2 weeks has been found dead in a narrow pipe beneath the city's Deerfoot Trail Expressway. Investigators believe 11-year-old Parker wandered into a culvert and traveled about 135 to 150 meters throughout the underground water pipe system. Sergeant Rich Wall, who managed the search, was at the scene when the body was located yesterday afternoon.
We are very sad and we are very deflated in the fact that we couldn't find him alive, but relieved that we've brought him home.
Parker had autism and was nonverbal. He was reported missing after wandering from his North End daycare home July 16th. Police say they found no evidence of foul play and they believe his death was a tragic accident. Mounties in Western Alberta say a woman has died after falling during a hiking trip in the Rocky Mountains. Canmore RCMP say 4 people were completing a hike on Mount Shark Tuesday when a woman in her 20s lost her footing and fell. Her death comes days after a 65-year-old man from Calgary died on the Mount Temple scrambling route while hiking with a group in Banff National Park. Russian attacks across Ukraine overnight have killed at least 8 people and wounded dozens more. The heaviest casualties from the missile and drone strikes were reported in the eastern Dnipro and the western Lviv regions. A New Brunswick politician has gone viral for delivering a speech in the provincial legislature with some unusual passages. Progressive Conservative MLA Bill Oliver appeared to read a few odd sentences in the June 9th speech that match the type of language typically used by an artificial intelligence chatbot. Sarah Laframboise with the nonprofit group Evidence for Democracy says she wasn't too surprised.
Unfortunately, I think that politicians are using AI very commonly for things like speeches. And, you know, the key point with this particular example is the lack of human oversight.
In one instance in his speech, Oliver paused and said, quote, "Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points." This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays will have Thursday off after taking 2 of 3 from the Nationals in Washington. They'll return home to open a 3-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals Friday night. Edgar Caro hit an RBI single in the 12th inning to give the Chicago White Sox a 6-5 victory over the New York Yankees. The Los Angeles Dodgers expect superstar pitcher and hitter Shohei Ohtani to throw again this season, but they're not rushing him back. His left knee healing is the priority. Andrew Friedman, the team's president of baseball operations, is downplaying Ohtani's right bicep soreness. The team wants the 2A superstar's knee to heal before he starts a throwing program. Ohtani continues as a designated hitter as his knee doesn't bother him while hitting. And at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, shot putter Sarah Mitten claimed Canada's 14th gold medal there. The 30-year-old from Liverpool, Nova Scotia, also repeated as Commonwealth champion. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
I'm Lisa Schick with your 980 CJME News Update. The Queen City X is open for another year with brand new rides and new shows to check out, but the organizers say just about everyone comes for the brand new food, like deep fried butter tarts and dill pickle pizza this year. The NDP is pushing the government to sit down and get a deal. Thousands of CUPE healthcare workers are expected to vote on a strike mandate this fall. The official opposition now says that can't happen, so it wants government to get serious at the negotiating table. A bear expert is handing out some tips after a summer with a lot of dangerous bear activity. She says the first step in avoiding them altogether is putting away any food sources. And Connor Bedard is thankful for the privileged position he's in, calling his new contract with the Chicago Blackhawks life-changing money. The former Regina Pat was on the Green Zone on Wednesday. Now, CJME weather. Sunny and all the way up to 30 degrees on Thursday. A 60% chance of showers Thursday night with a low of 16. Then sunny and 31 on Friday. That's your 980 CJME News Update. I'm Lisa Schick.
This is 980 CJME, Gravelburg in southern Saskatchewan at 107.1. Streaming live at CJME.com. As heard on the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
And now, here with an unlimited supply of misinformation, Mr. Know-It-All.
I am smart. I am smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
And now another useless fact.
Well, here we are once again. In fact, it's nice to be back on a Wednesday. Last week, because of Egg in Motion, we moved this competition to a Tuesday. Felt kind of weird to be doing it on a Tuesday. But we're back, our regular time at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday with Saskatchewan's smartest radio listener. It is your opportunity to hear our question of the day. We'll ask you a skill testing question. I don't know if it's skill testing. It's more of a memory testing. Do you know this piece of information? Are you able to recall it in a way that you're the first person to call in and give us the right answer? The phone lines are officially open at 1-877-332-8255. You have to play by phone. You can't win by texting in the answer. And we ask that you haven't won in this calendar year, so you're not a 2026 winner. Those are the only rules. And thanks to our friends at Little Town Apparel, we have got a Saskatchewan Smartest Radio Listener limited edition t-shirt for the winner. And last week, that was Ron Rotz, who is a cattle farmer in the Lestock area, and I'm happy to have Ron by phone today. Ron, how are you going? How are things going today?
Good and warm.
Good, warm is right. Yes, it's been your reigning champ. Did the town of Lestock at least recognize your skill in some way?
Well, not so much the town, but there was a parade of cattle went by the house here, tails waving, and I don't think it was just horseflies and mosquitoes.
I was going to say, it had nothing to do with the horseflies. They were proud of you, Ron. I appreciate it. Well, last week we asked the question, although many of us have done this, I can't imagine doing it for nearly 70 years as one person did. You knew the answer.
Yeah, hiccups.
Hiccups. That's right. 70 years to have the hiccups. That was your key to being a winner, and now you're going to give someone else that opportunity. Pass the torch. I know you've got today's question. Let's hear it.
All right. They say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. What is it?
They say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. What is it? Love it. Thanks for the question, Ron. Thanks for being such a good champ.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Always appreciate it. 1-877-332-8255. Okay. By the way, these questions, I was just saying to Frank, these in the day of AI, like we used to have to try and make them Google proof. Making them AI proof, that's next level. So if it feels like it's a broad question, I guess it kind of is, because we'll narrow it down with some hints as we go. But the question is, they say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. What are we talking about? 1-877-332-8255. Okay, phone lines are open for you. Dennis out of Saskatoon is our first caller. Dennis, this is a pretty wide open category here, but let's hear what you've got for me.
Evan, I think sourdough bread, because it is a good thing when it's created. So the starter for sourdough bread.
That's a great guess. Great guess, and kind of a trendy thing right now. I feel like lots of people are into making sourdough bread, but no, it's not sourdough bread. 1-877-332-8255. Again, the question, they say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. What are we talking about? Let's go to Craven, Saskatchewan next. I've got Greg on the line. Greg, what do you think?
I was thinking sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut is a good guess. Does it take 2 weeks?
Yeah.
It's got to sit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's not the answer. No, that's not what we're looking for. But thanks for playing along. Not sourdough, not sauerkraut. 1-877-332-8255. Okay, let's go to Mooseman. Is it Ryan? Brian, okay. You guys have a big weekend coming up. Isn't this the fireworks weekend?
I do not know. I don't live here. I'm just here for
you're just there. Okay, well, listen, if you're there for the weekend, I'm pretty sure it's August 1st and 2nd. They have their big fireworks competition, which is a cool thing. Okay, Brian, what do you got for me?
WAG. I'm going to go stalactite.
What was it, sorry?
Stalactite?
Oh, okay, so like in a cave.
Yeah.
Good guess, but no. 1-877-332-8255 is the number. What do you think is the answer? The question again, they say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. What are we talking about? Let's go to Maureen in Saskatoon.
Is it jelly beans?
Oh my gosh. It is jelly beans. Where did you pull that from, Maureen?
A couple years ago, we went to the Jelly Belly factory in California.
Oh my gosh. You are proof that retaining a small nugget of information can be profitable, because the answer is jelly beans. That's outstanding. So here's the process, and you probably learned this. It starts with heating a mixture of sugar, cornstarch, corn syrup, and water. Add the flavorings, put it into the shape, and then you got to let it sit. And then they go through a steam bath, a sugar shower. They're placed in a spinning machine where layers of sugar and syrup are slowly built up over a couple of days. They rest some more syrup is added. They're inspected. They're taste tested. They're stamped with the Jelly Belly logo, and it can take somewhere between 7 and 14 days.
Yeah.
Maureen, you impressed me this morning. I said to Frank, this is going to be a tough one today. We are going to be hard pressed to get a winner, but you knew. Maureen, what is your last name?
Peru.
And what keeps you busy in Saskatoon?
I'm a teacher, LAT.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. And so it was the Jelly Belly tour, the factory tour, where you learned about the length of time to make a jelly bean.
Yes, sir.
All right. Will you be going to the Saskatoon X, by the way?
No, we will not.
You're not an X. Do you have memories? Did you go as a kid?
Nope.
No.
We're typically away for August.
It's funny you say that, because I've got a couple of people that texted in today that said, my dad used to plan our family trips around the exhibition so that we would go on a trip instead of going to the exhibition. Well, Maureen, you're a great winner. You are the winner of Saskatchewan's Smartest Radio Listener. Have you won this competition before?
No, we have not.
Wow. Well, you are a winner. When you say we, do you have an accomplice with you?
Yeah, my mom is with me.
Okay, good stuff. Well, Maureen, I'm going to get you to hang on the line. Frank's got to get some information. We got to ship a T-shirt out to you. Congratulations so much.
Thank you so much.
Maureen, Saskatoon knew the answer. They say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create a jelly bean. Who knew someone that a couple of years ago did a tour of the Jelly Belly factory in the States, and it pays off. Oh, I love it. Congratulations to Maureen. Thank you to everyone that played along. I was already trying to come up with some clues to help people. I was thinking this was going to go for a while. Frank, did you even have a song pick? You did? Okay, well, we'll find out what the song was when we come back. Frank usually likes to pick out a song that maybe gives a little bit of a hint when we come back for the second segment. So why don't we go back to the exhibition discussion? We were talking about your favorite memories growing up. Did you go to the exhibition? I've talked about all of mine. I mean, gosh, every year the exhibition, I look forward to it. I saved for it because you knew you were going to spend a little bit of money on food and rides and games. We all have memories. There's some good ones, actually, on the Evan Bray Show Facebook page. I'll read some of those, but shoot us a text if you've got one you'd like to share, or give us a call. Phone lines are open up for you again, 1-877-332-8255. We'll be back with more exhibition, memories from our past on 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
As heard on the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
On the next Greg Morgan Morning Show.
The Super Dogs are in. They're returning to the Queen City X this year, and we'll have some of the dogs in with us, plus their handler, to chat about what kinds of things they do, tricks they perform, and what else you can expect from the Canine Show as part of this year's QCX.
The Greg Morgan Morning Show. Weekday mornings, 5:30 to 8:30 on 980 CJME.
It took a while to get here, but finally, it's full-on summer in Saskatchewan. I'm Pam Leyland with Roco Radio. Saskatchewan is shining at the lake, parks, campgrounds, at the pool, on decks and patios, in your backyard. As you move around, show some extra love to everyone working hard to make your summer special. Saskatchewan folk know how to support local, shop local. It's the movement that drives our province. So this summer, spend your money where your heart is.
This is one farm equipment auction you don't want to miss. Be sure to check out the Kent Geisel Retirement Auction coming this Monday, August 3rd near Lattman, Saskatchewan. To view this premium auction and register to bid, go to macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, a versatile 435 four-wheel drive tractor, 2 sweet New Holland CR8090 combines, a Case Puma 185 front Lewis tractor, a 2012 New Holland 240R sprayer, plus grain trailers, carts, and hopper bottom bins. Bidding opens this Monday, August 3rd from Lattman, Saskatchewan.
Don't let summer end quietly. Make Sunday the biggest day of the eggs. August 2nd brings the Family Day Pancake Breakfast in support of the Regina Food Bank. The QCX Midway 5K Fun Run, Saskatchewan's Strongman Championship, Arkell's live on the grand stage, and a spectacular Sasktel fireworks finale. It's the perfect finish to 5 unforgettable days. Turn up the fun at QCX, July 29th through August 2nd. Get your tickets now at queencityx.com.
The all-new Case IH AF Series combines feature more horsepower, a larger grain tank, faster unloading speeds, and larger single or dual rotor options to efficiently power you through harvest. Built-in field ops guidance, connectivity, and Case IH Harvest Command let you take advantage of the most advanced automation operating system available. Dual Pro 1200 displays put key information at your fingertips. Discover new levels of productivity and performance with the Case IH AF Series combines at Young's Equipment Incorporated today.
When I bought my farm with a nasty dugout, I wrote down 5 goals. No hauling water, no chlorine or chemicals, very little maintenance, spot-free and safe drinkable water. I'm Brian Tennant with farmfreshwater.ca. We're not city people trying to solve a rural problem. We proudly live and breathe country. Call us for your well or dugout needs at farmfreshwater.ca.
The CJME Community File.
For municipal hail insurance, farmers insuring farmers.
Join the Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 1 in Regina, marking 100 years of service. Celebrate this once-in-a-century event with a wartime dance hall experience that will bring back the life and spirit of Christmas 1944. It's at the Hotel Saskatchewan, November 27th. Tickets on sale now.
This is an encore edition of the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
All right, so there's Frank's hint. We found out the answer is jelly bean to today's question. Saskatchewan's smartest radio listener. They say good things take time. This can take 2 weeks to create. Maureen Haru from Saskatoon knew the answer was jelly bean because her family took a tour of the Jelly Belly factory a couple of years ago, and for whatever reason, she retained that piece of information. That's how it works. But I would have put money that we would not have got the answer that quick. What was she, the 4th or 5th caller, I think? Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, jelly bean. They take somewhere between 7 and 14 days to create. Hard to believe. But Maureen knew the answer, and she wins the prize. She gets the T-shirt from our friends at Little Town Apparel. Oh, okay. We were talking about the exhibition. We're talking about memories of the exhibition. 1-877-332-8255. How many people are talking about the tractor pulls In fact, Chris in Saskatoon said, my dad and I actually quit going to the Saskatoon exhibition when the tractor pulls didn't return. Tractor pulls. A lot of people are remembering things from the past that existed at the exhibition. And that's what I'm looking to hear from you. 1-877-332-8255. That's the number you want to text it in. You want to send us a voice memo? Just go onto your phone. Instead of sending the text, hit the plus sign. You can go to where you can send in audio and then just recite your message and send it in. We can get it on that way. It saves you waiting on the phone line, or you can call us the old school way at 1-877-332-8255. Keith in Regina said, although it was not an exhibition attraction per se, I always had to visit the steam locomotive that used to be parked on Elphinstone Street. We would enter the fairgrounds from that entrance, and I would press my face against the fence and stare at that locomotive. If I'm not mistaken, the locomotive is now at the casino, but I could be wrong. I know which one you're talking about. Is it at the casino? They've got the caboose, like they've got, or the rail car there that you can eat in as part of the restaurant. I don't know if the locomotive's there or not. I'll have to, when I'm in Regina, drive by and take a look. Wayne in Saskatoon, I was scared to go on the Ferris wheel years ago. My daughter said she would go with me and held my hand, which was very sweet of her. Our kids are braver than we are. Last ride of the night. This is Larry in Regina. This is his memory of the fair. Last ride of the night. The ride spun you around. The floor dropped out. You were stuck to the wall by centrifugal force. I wanted to barf, but I knew that wouldn't be good. On my way home, my girlfriend, well, we had to stop a couple of times because she was sick. Never asked again to go on that ride with her, Larry in Regina. Chris in Melford is being very honest on the text line, and I appreciate this, Chris. He says, I'm with you, Evan. I could not make that star disappear, and oh, I tried. Chris from Melford. This game, I'm still shocked. Nick, there's been a few people that are like, oh, yeah, I used to shoot that red star out all the time. I mean, I'm not saying you're lying if you said you did it. I just would love to know the technique. Because this farm kid who knew how to shoot a gun could never do it. I'd be confident. Oh, there you go. It's gone. The carney would bring that piece of paper forward and he'd point to this minuscule little piece of red and say, not quite, my friend, but for another $5, you can try again if you'd like. 1-877-332-8255. Cal in Oxbow says, if there's that many people claiming to have shot out the star, I'm going to call them fibbers. So there's a couple people on my side there. Jay said, I used to love going to the exhibition when we were kids. I went a couple of years ago and it didn't feel like there was many rides as they used to be. Plus, Jace goes on to say, we saw a couple of fights. There was a bear spraying that happened that night. So it is too bad that we've seen a couple of these, more community safety issues break out at the exhibition. I know the police in both Saskatoon and Regina have been working quite collaboratively to try and prevent that from happening. They've put lots of security plans in place. But overall, and I wonder sometimes if this is just me romanticizing about the way it used to be, because we have a tendency to do that, don't we? We think about the good old days. I mean, I've even done it with TV shows. Like, think about how amazing the shows were, and then you watch them again and you realize, I don't know if they were. Because I think about the exhibition as a kid, and it seemed bigger than life. Everything was amazing about it. The colors, the lights, the games, the rides, the food, everything. I loved it. You go back as an adult and it's the exhibition. Feels different though. And I think Ari captured it good when we had him on. He says it's become more corporate than community. Used to be community. In fact, I saw a text. So this tells you, here's one. Peter on our Facebook page said, I won a record player as a kid in a bubble blowing contest. This is back in the 70s. I mean, a bubble blowing contest I would expect to see at the Abernethy Fair. I wouldn't expect to see it, but that's the thing. The exhibition used to be like a small town fair, and it's now, I would suggest, much more big city in its feel. Let's go to the phone line. I want to grab a couple of calls. Diana on the line from Saskatoon. What is your exhibition memory, Diana?
Well, we're going back to 1946, and yeah, that's a long way. And I was 4 years old, and the carousel with the horses that go up and down.
Sure.
I thought I'd enjoy that. Well, I was the only one on it, and my parents put me on it, and I screamed the whole time going around.
You were scared.
Terrified.
So did they make you ride the whole thing, or did they stop the ride to get you off?
No, after about 3 times, I don't think my mother could handle the screaming. So he nodded, and the guy stopped it.
Have you been on a carousel since, Diana?
No, never.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that memory. 1-877-332-8255. Mike, your exhibition memory.
Well, here's one that's kind of close to your heart, Evan. Back in the 50s, you used to be able to pay, I think, $1 or $2, and you could win a house. I think it was 1957.
Wow.
And the gal who won it, Nancy Oshway, and she had a farm just about 7 miles north of Abernathy.
Yeah, okay. I remember to know the family name for sure.
Yeah, so she won in 57. The house is still standing in Regina and still in the same family.
Unbelievable. Winning, I can't even imagine winning a house at the exhibition. Great. We were just talking about the car giveaways they used to do. Neil in Saskatoon, your exhibition story.
Well, right off the bat, it was $2 for a ticket for a house. And,
is that what it was to win a house?
Yeah, $1 for the cars, Kinsman cars. Now, my story is, well, I got lots, but is to do with the Regina exhibition and a Farm Boys camp.
Farm Boys?
The Farm Boys camp, it was put on by the 4-H.
Okay.
And you lived on site, and there's a cafeteria there that you went and ate at, and you would judge cows, you judge dairy cattle, you judge machinery, all that kind of stuff. But there was lots of time that you had to yourself.
Right.
And it was just awesome. And this was back when you had the Royal American shows. And the Royal American shows had such talent as Club Lido.
Right.
Which was a burlesque show. and I was 14 and somehow I could pass to get in. So then after Regina, the Royal American shows would go to Saskatoon. Oh, first of all, at the grandstand, one year, Rich Little was the host, the ceremony.
Yeah.
And part of his story was to talk French like John Diefenbaker did. And it was very humorous. And I mentioned this to Rich Little down in Las Vegas at his show down there. Oh, yeah, I kind of vaguely remember it now. That he was just being not nice.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he lost all his... Anyways, okay, now the train would, from the Royal American shows, would go up to Saskatoon from Regina.
Sure.
And I lived in Hanley, and all the kids would go down there to watch this train going up to Saskatoon.
Pretty cool stuff. Great memories. Keep them coming if you want to keep the text coming in. 1-877-332-8255. I do have a guest coming up next, but we will have more time to get your thoughts on, so don't hesitate to shoot us a text. We'll try and squeeze some more in here before the end of the show. Memories of the exhibition on 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
Original reporting, memorable stories. 980 CJME. News, talk, sports. A Rolco radio station.
I'm Lisa Schick with your 980 CJME News Update. The Queen City X is open for another year with brand new rides and new shows to check out, but the organizers say just about everyone comes for the brand new food, like deep fried butter tarts and dill pickle pizza this year. The NDP is pushing the government to sit down and get a deal. Thousands of CUPE healthcare workers are expected to vote on a strike mandate this fall. The official opposition now says that can't happen, so it wants government to get serious at the negotiating table. A bear expert is handing out some tips after a summer with a lot of dangerous bear activity. She says the first step in avoiding them altogether is putting away any food sources. And Connor Bedard is thankful for the privileged position he's in, calling his new contract with the Chicago Blackhawks life-changing money. The former Regina Pat was on the Green Zone on Wednesday. Now, CJME weather. Sunny and all the way up to 30 degrees on Thursday. A 60% chance of showers Thursday night with a low of 16. Then sunny and 31 on Friday. That's your 980 CJME News Update. I'm Lisa Schick.
Reliable, credible, local news you can trust. 980 CJME.
Why do Chad and Jolene of Queen City Auto Body argue so much?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, so that should tell you a lot.
What does that mean? Is that your astronomy sign?
Chad and Jolene, the brother-sister team at Queen City Auto Body, don't agree on a lot, but they both will tell you that if you've gotten dented this summer, they'll get you back in shape quickly and efficiently.
With free SJ estimates right in the shop.
Repairs are less of a chore when you call Queen City Auto Body, 721-1234.
When I bought my farm with a nasty dugout, I wrote down 5 goals. No hauling water, no chlorine or chemicals, very little maintenance, spot-free and safe drinkable water. I'm Brian Tennant with farmfreshwater.ca. We're not city people trying to solve a rural problem. We proudly live and breathe country. Call us for your well or dugout needs at farmfreshwater.ca.
During harvest, efficiency is everything. A grain cart ensures the combine keeps moving and shortens the required harvest window. Trust the Brent Avalanche Dual Auger Grain Cart from Unverfirth Manufacturing. They have the largest capacity, up to 3,150 bushels. Supporting these world-class carts is your choice of tires or tracks. Unloading up to 1,000 bushels a minute gets harvest done in a hurry. Check out the Brent Avalanche 98 Series grain carts at youngs.ca today.
980 CJME. We know that each day in Saskatchewan begins with a burning question. What's it going to be like today? Especially now that summer is here. We have the same question because we live here too. 980 CJME. The official forecast for patio beers. The Evan Bray Encore. The voice of Saskatchewan. The Evan Bray Show. 980 CJME.
When you come home late some night, with your eyes all a mess from the smoke of the
Welcome back to the show. Evan Bray, good to have you here. Wildfires, of course, have become a defining part of Canadian summers. Saskatchewan knows this better than many because, of course, last year we had a very rough wildfire season. This year it's been a bit better, although there are fires burning in the province. I think today we're around 60 active wildfires burning in the province. Not as bad as what we see in BC and Ontario and even further north. This year, the federal government leased additional firefighting aircraft to help the provinces respond. But our next guest argues that the real issue isn't the number of planes, it's how quickly they can be deployed. We've had John Graddick on the show before. He's a lecturer in supply networks and aviation management at McGill University. And he says Canada needs a faster, more coordinated wildfire response before small fires become big. I'm happy to have John Graddick joining us by phone. John, thanks for taking the call. Busy day for you, I know.
It's okay, but I'm here for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's good. So let's start with the basics. You say the problem isn't about enough firefighting aircraft. It's about how quickly we deploy them.
Yeah, I think that, the big question we have to ask ourselves is that if you ask anybody in Canada, how many firefighting airplanes do we actually need? And you can't answer that question because nobody really has the answer. We have what we have, and then when we run out of what we have, we then ask the federal government to kind of coordinate the movement of other provinces or even other countries to bring assets into play. So one of the questions you have to ask yourself when you ask, what's the plan for either firefighters or airplanes is what strategy are you going to use to deploy these assets once the need has been defined for them? And right now, that plan doesn't exist. Our Our strategies we have for firefighting have been primarily oriented towards evacuation. So that's our strategy. It's basically get the airplanes in there, get the C-130 Hercules, get all the Cormorants, the helicopters in place so that we can evacuate. So right now the deal is we have to identify which municipalities, which communities are we going to protect with firefighting equipment and resources, and how fast are we going to have to respond. Once we've answered those two questions, then we can basically answer the question, have we got the right resources?
Okay, well,
that's about how you deploy them, not how many do you have.
Right. That kind of leans into the question, because I was going to ask, how do we develop a system like this that gets the planes where they need to be fast enough? So many provinces have these cooperation agreements. So I've had the premier on the show saying it's not about us buying as many airplanes as we can. It's having enough for what is an average response and then having cooperation agreement so that we can borrow from other provinces if we need it. So where does the strategy lie here, John?
Well, that's the firefighting mentality we've had for 60 years in Canada. Since the 1960s, we've been counting on interprovincial cooperation and probably international cooperation to get assets here. But guess what? The world of fires in Canada has changed in the last 10 years. Now, we have climate change. We have drying of our, we have drought. We have dry lightning. We have high winds. So the world of, the world in which these fires now live has changed substantially. So we used to have, when you had a lightning strike, you used to be able to have that thing smolder for about 4 or 5 hours before it lit up the forest. Now you get a lightning strike, those trees explode into fire. So right now the dynamics of fire in the forest has changed significantly. We have a drier forest, we have a more explosive forest. We need to change our tactics. We need to change our way of thinking of deployment. And I think that's where the change has to happen now, because if we keep doing this, we'll get greater and greater damage to both forest and people next few years.
John Graddick is my guest. Is it about getting in and getting on these fires quicker, like at an earlier stage before they grow? Is that part of the strategy we need to develop?
We have to basically create, what's our standard for response? The question is going to be, how quickly am I going to get the assets of the fire to fight it? These airplanes that we have, these helicopters, the view is there's two modes, either attack mode or defensive mode. And so right now, they're probably more used in defense. They're used to protect assets. They're used to protect people, protect firefighters. Very seldom will we see these airplanes and aircraft being deployed in attack mode. When we detect a fire, we wait for that fire to grow, and then we send protection equipment for people. We have to stop that. We have to kind of figure out where is it that we can basically deploy these aircraft to make them pure attack airplanes.
John Graddick is my guest, McGill University. If we do invest as a country, as provinces, in more airplanes, will we be able to staff them? Can we find the pilots and the crews we need?
Yeah, I think we can. I think that this is a full court press that we need. People get upset with me when I call it, this is a new war. This is a war that we're fighting. The war, quite unfortunately, is Mother Nature, is changing nature of fire. And we have to basically get to an attack mode where we basically ensure that we have training, that we have the resources. We need full-time firefighters, in my opinion. We need professionals year-round that are salaried and that consider wildfire firefighting, a profession, a career. They're not seasonal workers. They're not guys we bring in and they leave and let go in September. We need these resources, and we need airplanes and helicopters or whatever mix we have that are there year-round. Build up that support.
We've only got about a minute and a half left, but do you have a response time in mind that you think would be a good one to try and attain?
I'm not the expert. I could. My view is that we put the airplanes into locations which would be within 200 kilometers radius of where the most likely fires are going to be attained, and we respond to a fire within 30 minutes.
Right. I want to do just quickly shift gears. We've only got about a minute left. I know you've got a tight schedule today, but we're hearing WestJet flight attendants have voted to go on strike, and that could be happening this weekend. In a nutshell, what is at the heart of this disagreement?
It's really getting paid for hours that the flight attendants say they're working and they're not getting paid. And that goes back to the fundamental issue of how they're being paid initially. Right now, the view is flight attendants are changing their mindset. they want to get paid more for the work that they're doing, preparing and post-flight, and the airlines are kind of balking at it. We saw last summer with Air Canada. Air Canada caved in, and so this is WestJet's turn.
John, always appreciate your check-ins. Thanks so much for your time today.
Have a good one, Evan. Take care.
John Graddick is a faculty lecturer, supply networks and aviation management with McGill University. I wonder what's going to happen with this WestJet strike. I mean, flight attendants at WestJet voted overwhelmingly in favor of the strike. And that vote, by the way, happened on July 15th. Of the people that voted, 99.4% were in favor of a strike. Now, what happens is the clock starts ticking on a 21-day cooling off period. So as of July 15th, when they vote, the clock starts ticking, which is why the earliest a strike could happen is August the 2nd, Sunday of this weekend. And the union's required to give 72 hours notice of a strike, which means basically a notice should be coming today if they're going to strike. Now, the issue, and John just outlined this, is flight attendants are paid for the time the plane is in the air. We learned this during the Air Canada flight attendant strike. Their contracts, generally speaking, are not paying them when they are on the ground. So if you think about the work they do pre-flight, once you're getting on, you're boarding the plane or whatever, there's quite a bit of time there. If there's delays, like us as passengers, they're sitting on the flight. If they're stuck on the runway, if they're stuck on the tarmac because of delays of where they're landing, I mean, they spend a lot of time on the planes, but not in the air. They want compensation for that. The companies, the airlines are saying, well, that is always baked into your contract. So even though you're not paid for when you're on the ground, the pay you get when you're in the air has been inflated over past contracts to compensate for that. So that's at the heart of this issue, whether or not we will actually see the strike happen. And if they do, I mean, airline strikes typically don't last too long. Typically, someone steps in or they reach an agreement within a few days. That's been the recent history, but I guess we'll see whether or not WestJet goes through this strike this weekend. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more exhibition memories here on 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
The Evan Bray Encore, the voice of Saskatchewan. The Evan Bray Show, 980 CJME.
Imagine the future of space. Feel the weight of air. It's the Saskatchewan Science Center's journey to space. Launch a rocket, manage your own space station, experience what the vacuum of space feels like in a space suit. The Saskatchewan Science Center exhibits IMAX mind-blowing entertainment. Take off on your journey to space. See SaskScienceCenter.com. Real science, real fun.
Great coaches make great calls. And at home, you're in control of the game. Add SaskTel TV to your lineup and enjoy popular channels, including sports in stunning 4K for as low as $40 a month. So, what do you say, Coach? Ready to add in the difference maker? Visit SaskTel.com/make the call to learn more. Conditions apply.
Grass getting out of hand? Yard work piling up? Head to your local Pattison Ag for deals on John Deere mowers, tractors, and gators. John Deere mowers make quick work of your grass. Hard-working John Deere tractors and gators built to haul, tow, and tackle it all. For a limited time, receive 0% financing for up to 84 months on select John Deere mowers, gators, and compact utility tractors. Offer ends August 4th, 2026. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. With locations in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and one close to home. PattisonAg.com.
This is the story of a door, an automatic door. An automatic door on a commercial building. An automatic door on a commercial building that has officially stopped being automatic. You wave, you step, you dance all crazy. Now you're karate kicking the air. And just like that, a total doorsaster. Rewrite the ending with Riser Door Services. Sliding doors, fire doors, sensor doors, emergency doors, handicap access doors. Inspections to installs to repairs. Google Riser Door Regina.
Why do Chad and Jolene of Queen City Auto Body argue so much?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, so that should tell you a lot.
What does that mean? Is that your astronomy sign?
Chad and Jolene, the brother-sister team at Queen City Auto Body, don't agree on a lot, but they both will tell you that if you've gotten dented this summer, they'll get you back in shape quickly and efficiently.
With free SJ estimates right in the shop.
Repairs are less of a chore when you call Queen City Auto Body, 721-1234.
My days of asking how do you like your burgers, then cooking them all the same are done. Well done. I got professional help and a Broil King barbecue from Northern Fireplace. Not only do I have a long-lasting pro-level Broil King barbecue, but the meat geeks at Northern have 10,000 hours experience on the grill. Spices, accessories, hard-earned know-how. They share it all.
Want years and years of next-level grilling? Talk to the local boys at Northern Fireplace.
Turning geek speak into street speak. Tech Talk with Mark Saltzman, one of North America's most recognizable and trusted technology experts. Mark specializes in consumer electronics, interactive entertainment, business tech, and internet trends. Get news, reviews, and how-tos, and he'll help you master your gadgets and apps. Tech Talk with Mark Saltzman, Sunday afternoon at 2 on 980 CJME. As heard on the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
This time each year in our hometown, the county fair comes our way, where the folks gather around to be happy and spend their day. Here's what happened now, I soon decided that I'd take with me.
Thanks for joining us. 1-877-332-8255 is the number. If you have a memory, an exhibition memory that you would like to share, we'd be happy to hear it. Shoot us a text, shoot us a call, shoot us a voice memo. Larry shot us a voice memo. Just go on instead of texting, hit your plus sign on the phone. You should have the option to send audio, and this is what Larry said, his memories from the X.
I took my daughter there when she was about 7 years old and wanted to go on the Ferris wheel, but it was starting to sprinkle rain. We asked the guy, is it safe? He says, oh, yeah. So we got on the wheel. We go up to the top once. We come back to the bottom. It's starting to rain really hard. Get up to the top and it stops. All of a sudden, the brakes don't work because the wheels are wet. So it's jerking and it's jumping. And it took us about half an hour to get from the top to the bottom. So when we got to the bottom, the guy says, do you want to go again? My daughter says, nope. Never went on the Ferris wheel again.
I mean, that's why not the reason why I stay off the Ferris wheel. I'm not a big heights guy at the best of times. So I went on the Ferris wheel once when I was trying to impress my date. By the way, it worked. We got married, but I don't think I've been back on it since. 1-877-332-8255. Do you have a memory of the exhibition? I know Fritz does in Regina. What do you got for me, Fritz?
Oh, that whole shooting out the star game brought back memories of my dad. He was a sharpshooter with the Swiss Army.
Yep.
World War II. And when we first came across that game, he asked all about it. He said, okay, this is how you do it, because I was stationed to cut out barbed wire with a machine gun. And he did it first time, and then he showed us. And ever since we were 12 years old, we could always shoot out that star.
Are you sharing the secret or are you keeping it? Is that a family secret?
Well, basically, it is short bursts. Don't let it warm up. And, just treat it like you're hitting a piece of barbed wire. That's how thin you got to shoot it.
I could have used your dad, Fritz. Thanks so much for the call. Yeah, appreciate it. 1-877-332-8255. Message here from Greg. The old exhibition, wooden food booths, outdoor theater, motocross at the grandstand, fiddlesticks, the old teacher-run casino, the Sky Wheel, the Jubilee Building, events at the Livestock Pavilion. It's quite a text, Greg. Thanks so much. I mentioned earlier, Peter had sent a message and said, I won a record player as a kid in a bubble blowing contest in the late 70s. Oh, boy. The Spudnut Hut. Gosh, people are talking a bit about that. Glenn, Royal American shows train unloading as a kid, winning a live budgie bird in a small cage. What was with the prizes? Like, these are crazy prizes that you were winning. These are not stuffed animals, record players, live budgie birds in a cage. Paul's on the phone from Regina. Paul, what's your memory?
I got a couple. I got one quick one years ago when I was a kid. I remember there was always a kiss-a-thon.
A kiss-a-thon?
Yep.
Okay.
Where you could kiss your partner, and as soon as you discontinued kissing, you were disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years later, when I used to work on the grounds in gambling venues, the real stuff happened after the Midway shut down, where we would play especially the game with squirting the water pistol with the people working on the
Right.
Midway after hours, and the money would come out and would be on, and it would go on for most of the night, every night.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine the after hours fun of people working in and around there. A kiss-a-thon, eh? 1-877-332-8255. Ian in Saskatoon, your exhibition memory is what?
I got to do this quick because Frank says you're done in a couple of minutes here. So I sent you a picture from the Saskatoon Public Library Local History Department of the Midway. And
oh, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
My parents would take my brother and I, and we'd go to the X. And as you started to go down the Midway, on the left side, they would open up the big, almost like 4x8 cover doors, and they'd swing them up. And inside was a car, and there'd be a house, and then the boat. And they did a draw, and like a couple, I think it was 3 tickets for $1. And
you could win a house.
Yes. And the crescent that we live on, about 3 years ago, the original winners of the 69 house, which is where that picture is from, just sold that house.
Really? It's been like they've had it ever since then.
Yeah, maybe even it started just before then.
Wow.
I actually don't know when, but the 69 house, the first people on the Crescent lived in that house.
Crazy.
The other thing I mentioned was when I turned 16, I lined up with all the other kids and got a job dismantling the bumper cars and earned some extra cash.
I know it was a good piece of summer employment for people that could get the work, for sure. Maybe you got some free perks. I'm guessing you got into the exhibition for free. Ian, thank you so much for the call. Thanks to everyone who shared exhibition memories. The exhibition in Regina, in fact, QCX opens up here in moments. The gates open. Saskatoon's fair opens tomorrow. It's a timely discussion, and we appreciate everyone joining in. You're listening to 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
As heard on the Evan Bray Show, the voice of Saskatchewan. Evan Bray on 980 CJME.
Hey, it's Backyard Brandon for Bucks Auto Parts. And I want to put a few bucks in your pocket. Buck. Have an old vehicle or two just sitting around not making you any money? Call Bucks Auto Parts. We're Western Canada's largest auto recycler. And I'll get you a great price for any old vehicle you have. Doesn't matter, running or not, new or old. Want to make a few bucks? Call Bucks. Buck. Bucks Auto Parts. See bucksautoparts.com.
Every farmer knows when premium land comes up for sale, you don't have much time to decide. This remarkable offering includes over 12,500 acres of premium Saskatchewan farmland near Corona, large contiguous blocks in an outstanding location just southeast of Regina. The kind of land that rarely changes hands. The kind of opportunity that can shape an operation for decades. Tender closes August 11th at 12 p.m. Don't be the one saying, I wish I'd called.
Visit shepherdrealty.ca or call today for your complete information package.
The fastest time in the 100-meter.
Another world record. Ready, set, dream big. Saskatchewan Athletics is funding, coaching, and training for athletes from elementary to masters. Sask Athletics is opportunity, recognition, and support.
Come cheer on the athletes competing at the National U16 and U18 Legion Championships. August 7th to 9th at the Canada Games Track and Field facility in Regina. They are still in need of volunteers. If you are aged 16 and up, reach out today and visit the Legion Command in Regina.
Subway's new coffee is brewed fresh when you order. So we asked what Canadians think. Oh, excuse me. Hi. How fresh is your coffee?
The sign said 20 minutes.
20 minutes? So you mean yesterday's coffee? We could do better. Subway grinds and brews every cup, so each one is 1 minute fresh. Literally seconds old. Try this.
Wow, I think I just became a morning person.
Yeah, you did. No 20-minute pots, just fresh made-for-you coffee brewed with 100% Arabica beans. Any size, just 99 cents, only at Subway. At participating Regina restaurants, plus tax.
Join the Saskatchewan Community Foundation for the 4th annual fundraiser event on August 13th at the Connexus Arts Center. Connect with nearly 100 charities and hundreds of passionate community members. We ask you to leave your wallet at home for an afternoon of free entertainment, appetizers, and impactful stories from charities that are making your community stronger. Don't miss the fundraiser event. Register and invite your friends at saskfoundation.ca. Reserve your spot today.
Are you choosing the right stick?
Are your skates custom fitted to your feet?
I'm Jeff.
And John here from Western Cycle Sorcerer Sports.
Fit affects performance.
So not only do we have the biggest selection of everything hockey,
we also provide the expertise and technology to get you the most from your gear and your game.
Top brands like Bauer, CCM, and True.
For every age and skill level.
And as always, team uniforms for every sport with Western Sports Apparel, our team clothing division.
Western Cycle Sorcerer Sports. We fit your game.
Coming up on the Green Zone.
Our NHL insider and analyst, Drew Remenda, will break down Macklin Celebrini's monster contract extension in San Jose. And John Boyle has the Seattle Seahawks covered. We'll update you on whether or not they're going to go back-to-back.
The Green Zone with Jamie Nye. Daily from 2 to 6, 980 CJME. Your world is heard here. 980 CJME. News, talk, sports. A Ralco radio station.
From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. About 4,400 flight attendants at WestJet are another step closer to walking off the job. The Canadian Union of Public Employees says it has issued 72-hour strike notice, setting the stage for a possible strike during a busy summer travel season. The airline quickly responded to the strike notice by issuing a 72-hour lockout notice this morning. The union says the two sides remain far apart on key issues, including compensation for ground duties. Job action could begin as early as Sunday at 12:01 a.m. Calgary time. WestJet has been allowing passengers with flights scheduled anytime between today and August 4th to make a one-time change or cancellation with no fee. Calgary police say an 11-year-old boy named Parker was found dead in a small water pipe beneath the Deerfoot Trail Expressway. Police believe the child, who had autism and was nonverbal, wandered into the underground network of pipes after leaving his day home in northern Calgary on July 16th. Lee Wayne, a Calgary police inspector with the Major Crimes Division, says investigators had never ruled out foul play, but says there has been no evidence that suggests wrongdoing.
As it stands, we are still believing that this is simply a case of misadventure with no criminality involved in it at the current time.
Search crews located Parker's body about 135 to 150 meters inside a narrow pipe after clothing and a shoe led investigators to the area yesterday afternoon. Police say pending examination, it's unclear how long the child was inside the pipe, but they suggest it was quite some time. 11 members of Ontario Premier Doug Ford's caucus say Eastern Ontario voices are not being heard on the federal government's proposed high-speed passenger train service between Quebec City and Toronto. Sources say the province is reconsidering its support for Alto. At an unrelated newser in Montreal yesterday, Transport Minister Stephen McKinnon said collaboration is important.
The government has extraordinary cooperation on a number of very, very important economic projects with Mr. Ford's government. That will continue. These are important, critical things, and Canadians want us to roll up our sleeves and work together as we face trade challenges, as we face a number of international pressures on Canada, so we can keep people working.
Sources say Ford agreed to support the rail project in exchange for federal support to expand Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport to allow jets to land and take off. The deal could be off after Ottawa this week rejected the airport expansion plans. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays will have Thursday off after taking 2 of 3 from the Nationals in Washington. They'll return home to open a three-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals Friday night. Edgar Caro hit an RBI single in the 12th inning to give the Chicago White Sox a 6-5 victory over the New York Yankees. The Los Angeles Dodgers expect superstar pitcher and hitter Shohei Ohtani to throw again this season, but they're not rushing him back. His left knee healing is the priority. Andrew Friedman, the team's president of baseball operations, is downplaying Ohtani's right bicep soreness. The team wants the two-way superstar's knee to heal before he starts a throwing program. Ohtani continues as a designated hitter as his knee doesn't bother him while hitting. And at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, shot putter Sarah Mitten claimed Canada's 14th gold medal there. The 30-year-old from Liverpool, Nova Scotia, also repeated as Commonwealth champion. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
I'm Lisa Schick with your 980 CJME News Update. The Queen City X is open for another year with brand new rides and new shows to check out. But the organizers say just about everyone comes for the brand new food like deep fried butter tarts and dill pickle pizza this year. The NDP is pushing the government to sit down and get a deal. Thousands of QP healthcare workers are expected to vote on a strike mandate this fall. The official opposition now says that can't happen, so it wants government to get serious at the negotiating table. A bear expert is handing out some tips after a summer with a lot of dangerous bear activity. She says the first step in avoiding them altogether is putting away any food sources. And Connor Bedard is thankful for the privileged position he's in, calling his new contract with the Chicago Blackhawks life-changing money. The former Regina Pat was on the Green Zone on Wednesday. Now, CJME weather. Sunny and all the way up to 30 degrees on Thursday. A 60% chance of showers Thursday night with a low of 16. Then sunny and 31 on Friday. That's your 980 CJME News Update. I'm Lisa Schick.
This is 980 CJME in Swift Current and the Southwest, 101.7. Streaming now, CJME.com. Jamie Nye brings big sports talk to Saskatchewan. The Green Zone with Jamie Nye. Recorded earlier for broadcast now. 980 CJME.
It don't matter to me wherever we are, where I want to be. And honey, for can be my four-leaf clover. Starting over.
NFL camps opening as a new start to the NFL season is underway. And of course, the CFL season right in the middle of it now, with playoff races really starting to have a clearer sign of what is to come and who needs to pick it up in the second half of the season. And of course, we break it all down from the CFL, NFL, and everything in between with Dave Naylor.
Football Hall of Fame writer, TSN insider, and our pipeline to the NFL, CFL, and college ball. Here's Dave Naylor.
And Dave is almost actually in between the CFL and the NFL right now. Buffalo Bills camp on the panel in the CFL. Then he's got the Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then back another panel appearance in the CFL. It begins, Dave.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is, Jamie, you know when I actually get the most kind of personal interaction with like CFL scouts and people like that? Standing on NFL sidelines. There were several of them this morning. And in Buffalo, I turn around and all the CFL guys are around. It's like, you know, it's always like that. So, yeah, but tomorrow would be a busy day. I'm at Bills camp for a second day in a row tomorrow morning. And then we'll be making the drive to the studio in Scarborough for Bombers and Lions on the panel tomorrow night. Fortunately, the Bills are starting practices early. This is Joe Brady's trying to put his own little wrinkles in 8 a.m. practice this morning in the rain, in the cool rain. I was telling your producer off air, I said, of all my years of going to NFL camps, I have never shivered at an NFL training camp in the summer. I did this morning here in Rochester, lovely Rochester.
Wow, Dave. Next, you should check out a training camp next April in the CFL.
Oh yeah. Never mind next year. Enoch Mwamba and I at Guelph this year for Argos, 6 degrees. We were sitting in the stands and we were doing more than shivering. So next year, yeah, I can only imagine what it's going to be like.
There's going to be a blizzard at Ryder Camp next year that they moved the schedule up. They're almost guaranteed. Let's dig in. We'll get to the NFL stories in the next break, but let's go to the Riders and the Elks. It was an absolute classic game, 36-34. Now the rematch in Edmonton. What's your breakdown of what to expect on Saturday night when these two Western rivals have another, clash for first in the West?
I hope it's like an 8-quarter game, just an extension of what we saw on Friday night. Like, one of the best football games I've watched in a long, long time. And look, it was high scoring, but sometimes when you watch high scoring, other than some busted coverage, which, there were some of those, but it just felt like a game that was well played on both sides of the ball and both quarterbacks, kind of just being on. And, when it comes, I think to me, the Cody Fajardo story is kind of gaining some momentum here when, you think of, he went to Montreal. Like, look, I understand how he got chased out of Saskatchewan. I get it. And he talked about, his career wasn't over, but there was another chapter. And, he goes to Montreal, wins a Grey Cup. No one would argue with the decision the Alouettes made. I mean, making room for Davis Alexander, you absolutely have to do that. But after spending the first 5 weeks on the bench last year, Cody Fajardo was every bit as good as he's ever been in that game against Saskatchewan, in Saskatchewan, right down to the final minute. So I just think it was just a game that had so many clutch moments in it, and that's what I hope we get to see and continue when these two teams get together, because I think they're battling for supremacy in the West this year.
One of the other storylines this week is the BC Lions, who we know Nathan Rourke's very close to coming back, but they give Chase Bryce one full game, and that's enough. Caden Salter, who went to Colorado, replaced Shadur Sanders, played the majority of the starts for Deion Sanders, also related to Casey Printers, gets the start this week against Winnipeg with a rookie running back in one of the loudest stadiums. This is getting bad to worse, isn't it, Dave, for the BC Lions? Or do you think there's hope for this young man at quarterback?
Well, based on what I saw in the final 6 minutes of the game, there maybe is a little more hope than there was with Chase Bryce. And the Chase Bryce thing has got to be really disappointing for the Lions, because he's not like a guy who hasn't been on their team for multiple seasons, and you're playing behind Nathan Rourke, and, it's all of a sudden it's showtime. And he basically had 2 full games, because technically it's one start, but because Rourke went out in the first series of the week before, they had lots of opportunities to see Chase Price, and he just wasn't seeing it. And again, not a guy with a great athletic component to his game. So if he's not, if passing isn't on, it's hard to have success. And I wish I could tell you a little more about Caden Salter, because I sent a text yesterday morning to former CFL coach and quarterback Kent Austin, who recruited him to Liberty and coached him in 21 and 22. So if Kent gets back to me, I'll learn a little more about Caden Salter. But it's interesting. You mentioned the Casey Printers connection, but he's also got a connection with somebody who, certainly well known to everybody in Saskatchewan and the CFL, and in Kent Austin from his time at Liberty. Also interesting, just that, this is just I think a little tidbit about him. One of the things that I have wondered about, and I think we may explore this issue a little bit later in the season, is the future of quarterbacks in the CFL. I'm going off on a tangent here a little bit, but bear with me. Of the 9 starting quarterbacks in the CFL right now, I don't believe any of them ever made a dime of NIL money. Okay. So the real question is, how is NIL going to affect the future of quarterback recruitment? Because all these guys at these big time schools, like what would Vernon Adams have made at Oregon? What would Chad Kelly have made at Ole Miss? If guys are making millions in college football, are they really going to come and sign an entry-level contract in the CFL, for 100,000 Canadian? Well, Caden Salter did. He's a guy who got paid at Colorado, multiple millions to play quarterback there. So just a bit of an example of something that we talk about a lot about, will we see guys still come to the CFL if they made millions in college? They're all going to be different, but Salter is the first one I could think of who made significant money in NIL in college and is showing up in the CFL.
Final CFL note, Dave, is your story. You broke the story on Chad Kelly's health. What do we know about the quarterback that did not finish Toronto's game in that victory over the weekend?
We know he had a negative X-ray in the stadium in BC on Saturday night, and I don't want to suggest that it was possible he could have come back in that game. If it was a playoff game or something to that effect. But I mean, the negative X-ray kind of clears the way for at least consideration of that kind of thing. Sometimes when they do X-rays in the stadium, they want to redo them when the team gets back home. I think that's the protocol for Chad Kelly, but especially with the Argos off this week and moving towards their home opener on August 6th, got to be the latest Argo home opener, in a long, long time, from the days when the schedule maybe started in late July, going back decades. But Chad Kelly is expected to be under center when they host Calgary next Thursday.
Dave Naylor is our NFL go-to here in the Green Zone from TSN, and he's going to go on his NFL tour in Buffalo at Bills camp. The Joe Brady era begins, and Aaron Rodgers says, zero debate. This is it. Does Dave actually believe it this time? This is 980 CJME and 650 CKOM.
We cover Saskatchewan sports. The Green Zone with Jamie Nye. Recorded earlier for broadcast now. Listen to the show anytime, wherever you get your podcasts, and at CJME.com.
Mainly just for any post-op complications, any questions. And with her approach, it's more of a conservative approach, not just basically take a whole black load of hair from the back and put it in front and then, okay, see you later type of thing too, right? Not that I've had any complications. I was actually very impressed with my healing, and so was she. I just basically thought, having it done local, if you have any questions or concerns, you can just go back there.
Call today. Google Dahar Hair Restoration. Proven by results.
It starts with the scream of the Midway, the smell of mini donuts, the roar of a concert crowd, and suddenly, summer comes alive. The Queen City X is back July 29th through August 2nd at Real District. Thrill rides, live concerts, incredible food, super dogs, family favorites, and so much more, all in one place. With guest services, accessible grounds, well-lit midways, and on-site security, so you can simply focus on making memories. Turn up the fun. Get your tickets now at queencityx.com.
Drop the tailgate and light the barbecue. Ukrainian Co-op is going to help you win this game day. Ukrainian Co-op has tons of summer options, fresh in-store made burgers, marinated meats you drop on the grill. Plus, there's Ukrainian Co-op's famous sausage. Over 100 varieties to choose from, all perfectly smoked in Regina's only outdoor smokehouse. Butcher, deli, groceries. Just follow the smoke to the Big Flower Building at the corner of Winnipeg and 11th. This game day, everyone wins, and everyone is welcome at Ukrainian Co-op.
You know that creepy brown stain that's growing on the ceiling in the office? It's not getting smaller. Before it drops down in a flopping, sopping mess, talk to ProGuard Roofing. Our modern roofing systems are designed for a good old Sask character building with a side of whiplash weather, flexing and stretching to keep your building dry. It lasts for decades. Get rid of that stain. Get a modern roof. I'm Larry King from ProGuard, Roofing Refined, ProGuardRoof.ca, serving all of southern Saskatchewan.
Imagine the future of space. Feel the weight of air. It's the Saskatchewan Science Center's journey to space. Launch a rocket. Manage your own space station. Experience what the vacuum of space feels like in a spacesuit. The Saskatchewan Science Center exhibits IMAX mind-blowing entertainment. Take off on your journey to space. See SaskScienceCenter.com. Real science, real fun.
Now that you can get 3 years scheduled maintenance on any new 2026 Volkswagen SUV, like the Taos, Tiguan, Atlas, or Crossport, plus 4 years limited warranty on all Volkswagen models, you can leave your car worries behind and start enjoying a little peace of mind. Until it's time to start worrying about other things, like what to make for dinner tonight. For terms and conditions and to find great offers, visit VW.ca.
Volkswagen.
Why do Chad and Jolene of Queen City Auto Body argue so much?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, so that should tell you a lot.
What does that mean? Is that your astronomy sign?
Chad and Jolene, the brother-sister team at Queen City Auto Body, don't agree on a lot, but they both will tell you that if you've gotten dented this summer, they'll get you back in shape quickly and efficiently.
With free SJ estimates right in the shop.
Repairs are less of a chore when you call Queen City Auto Body, 721
1234.
On the next Greg Morgan Morning Show.
The Super Dogs are in. They're returning to the Queen City X this year, and we'll have some of the dogs in with us, plus their handler, to chat about what kinds of things they do, tricks they perform, and what else you can expect from the Canine Show as part of this year's QCX.
The Greg Morgan Morning Show. Weekday mornings, 5:30 to 8:30 on 980 CJME. The Green Zone is Saskatchewan's #1 sports show, starring Jamie Nye. Recorded earlier for broadcast now. The Green Zone with Jamie Nye, 980 CJME.
I don't want to do the things you do.
Jamie Nye with you here on the Green Zone. We're talking football with our football analyst and insider Dave Naylor in Rochester, New York, covering Bills camp. He'll be off to Detroit. He'll be off to Pittsburgh. Let's start with the new Joe Brady era in Buffalo. What characteristic will this team have that Sean McDermott's didn't? And what are they hoping for with a change of direction at head coach in Buffalo?
Well, it's kind of a bit strange because Joe Brady is still the play caller. They've hired an offensive coordinator for the staff. And he's, of course, an offensive-minded head coach, which is different than they had for the past 8 years with Sean McDermott, the defensive-minded head coach. But the real changes on this team are not going to be the offense. I think, this was actually one of the things that was kind of commented upon that, they may have a new offensive lineman. They got DJ Moore, but this is the same offense personnel-wise. I mean, the same 2 starting tight ends, the same 3 running back depth chart, obviously Josh Allen, and pretty much the same receiver group. So the real changes for this side of the ball are on the other side of the ball, where they've hired Jim Leonard as their defensive coordinator, who was on the staff at Denver last year. He's a former Buffalo Bill. And in the Sean McDermott era, they basically played the same defense every year, and, or scheme-wise. And, Josh Allen was talking about even today about how when you practiced against it, you kind of always knew what to expect and what they were going to do and knew the play calls and all those kind of things. And now it's more challenging for him in practice, which, may be a good thing. But the McDermott defense was basically, 2 deep safeties, high cover shell. We'll give up the run. We'll give up the underneath stuff, but nobody's going to beat us deep. And we're going to force teams to go, 8, 10, 12 plays down the field. And which is why sometimes, that defense had issues getting off the field. Because they weren't necessarily a defense that made a ton of splash plays. This is going to be very different. They're going to play multiple fronts. They're going to have 3 down. They're going to have 4 down. They're going to have 5 down. They're going to mix and match. They're going to play personnel-wise. They're going to play more man defense, I think, not as heavy zone. So that's going to be the real difference. It's funny because Joe Brady is walking a bit of a fine line. He's the new guy, but he's not, right? If you think about it even, he was hired to join the staff by Sean McDermott as the quarterback coach. He was promoted to offensive coordinator by Sean McDermott. And now he's got to sort of distance himself from Sean McDermott to try to do what McDermott was never able to do. And that is get the Bills to the Super Bowl. One of the things he kept saying today, and the Bills, they do their training camp at St. John Fisher University in Rochester, just a couple hours down the road from Buffalo. One of the about half dozen NFL teams that still goes away to camp. The rest of them have kind of, gone away from that trend. But one of the things he kept saying was, we've never been here. I'm telling our players, we've never been here. In other words, don't think of this as a continuation of another year at St. John Fisher, and here's the way we do things when we come here and that kind of stuff. He's trying to sort of make a sense that, don't assume that just because we're back at St. John Fisher, this is sort of a continuation of what you've always known. So, a little more edge to his personality, maybe just in terms of dealing with the media, which makes, kind of some sense. But, he said he's not an old school guy. He's not a player's coach. He's somebody who pulls from kind of both ends of that spectrum. But he also understands, expectations. Most first year coaches, right? You get some grace period. Not here in Buffalo, not with the expectation. And look at the Bills' schedule. They open on a Sunday afternoon in Houston, which is a place they've lost the last two times they've been there. And that's not very common in the Josh Allen era. And then they come back 4 nights later against Detroit and open in their new stadium. So it's going to be a baptism by fire for Joe Brady as a new head coach by the time we get to September.
Okay, real quick, those Nickel City jerseys are awful, though, right? Like that's a bad look.
So, Josh Allen went to the defense of the new uniforms this year, unprompted, by the way. At the end of his availability, he was like, "Guys, stop hating on the new uniforms," and gave this big lean in. And he kind of tied it to the changing coaches. Says, "Look, we got to do things new. I'm kind of thinking this is symbolic and representative of what we're doing here." And it was interesting.
Doesn't make him look any better. Meanwhile, do you believe Aaron Rodgers when he says zero debate? This is it. 2026 farewell tour for Aaron.
I do, because I think anytime a guy leaves a crack in the door, then there's a reason he left a crack in the door. And if you look at what Aaron Rodgers said a year ago, and then kind of his, not commenting on it when they lost in the AFC wildcard game against Houston, he was always leaving that crack in the door there. And the Mike McCarthy thing, I think, was the catalyst that, moved the door from a crack to wide open. An opportunity to be with somebody who he'd been with during his, very best years and end his career that way. And you start to think about it here. Okay, the Steelers cannot, no, he's not playing anywhere else, right? He's not going to play for somebody else. The Steelers cannot bring back Aaron Rodgers for a third year at what it would be age 43. And I'm just thinking of it this way. If this is not a good year for him, there's no way he's coming back. And if he has a good year, isn't that the way you want to go out, playing for the guy who wins? So I do believe that this is it for Aaron Rodgers in the National Football League, 22 years or whatever it's been. I'll be shocked if he's playing next year, Pittsburgh or otherwise.
Well, Dave, we'll talk to you next week on the road again, I'm sure, covering some NFL camps before Week 10 in the CFL. Safe travels.
Hey, thanks so much, Jamie. Take care.
That is Dave Naylor from TSN, our CFL and NFL insider.
The Green Zone is Saskatchewan's #1 sports show, starring Jamie Nye. Recorded earlier for broadcast now. The Green Zone with Jamie Nye, 980 CJME.
The all-new Case IH AF Series combines feature more horsepower, a larger grain tank, faster unloading speeds, and larger single or dual rotor options to efficiently power you through harvest. Built-in field ops guidance, connectivity, and Case IH Harvest Command let you take advantage of the most advanced automation operating system available. Dual Pro 1200 displays put key information at your fingertips. Discover new levels of productivity and performance with the Case IH AF Series combines at Young's Equipment Incorporated today.
Today's learners are tomorrow's leaders, innovators, and explorers. And the University of Saskatchewan is ready to help students reach their goals with flexible in-person, online, and distance classes, hands-on training, and customizable programs. USask offers students learning opportunities as unique as they are. Applications are open now. Be you. Be what the world needs at the University of Saskatchewan. Visit usask.ca to apply today.
Farmers, are you ready for this hail season? Municipal Hail Insurance is here to insure your crops and your bottom line with coverage designed just for you. No hidden fees, just flexible coverage you can stack to match your needs. Offering 3 insurance options, including AMHI, your spot loss hail insurance sold at cost. Buy it as a standalone or stack it with your SMHI. Call Municipal Hail Insurance and secure your future today. Municipal Hail Insurance, a company that's built by farmers for farmers. Why do Chad and Jolene of Queen City Auto Body argue so much?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, so that should tell you a lot.
What does that mean? Is that your astronomy sign?
Chad and Jolene, the brother-sister team at Queen City Auto Body, don't agree on a lot, but they both will tell you that if you've gotten dented this summer, they'll get you back in shape quickly and efficiently.
With free SJ estimates right in the shop.
Repairs are less of a chore when you call Queen City Auto Body, 721-1234.
Traditional vinyl or cement board siding can crack, fade, shrink, and demand maintenance. Arm River Metal's board and batten metal siding changes everything. The rustic charm you love, with prairie tough steel built to handle hail, heat, cold, and time itself. Hidden fasteners, no visible screws, no painting, no staining, no maintenance. For homes, cottages, acreages, barns, and shops, build better, way better. Arm River Metals, near Lumsden, a division of VersaFrame. ArmRiverMetals.ca.
You know that feeling when you drive home and it just feels safer, quieter, and more peaceful? Walking paths, parks, a golf course, reasonable taxes, architectural controls with larger lots, just 7 minutes from the city. With 2 excellent elementary schools, including French immersion, Emerald Park is a great and safe community to raise a family. Great Plains Leaseholds has large lots coming this year, so start planning your new home your way. Call 306-525-9516 or visit greatplainsleaseholds.ca.
The CJME Community File.
For Olympic RTMs.
The North Central Family Center invites you to the 5th annual Back to School Bash, August 12th at the North Central Family Center. Celebrate the start of a new school year with a community barbecue and a goal of providing 500 kids with all the essential school supplies.
When news breaks, it happens here. 980 CJME. News, talk, sports. A Ralco radio station.
I'm Lisa Schick with your 980 CJME News Update. The Queen City X is open for another year with brand new rides and new shows to check out, but the organizers say just about everyone comes for the brand new food like deep fried butter tarts and dill pickle pizza this year. The NDP is pushing the government to sit down and get a deal. Thousands of QP healthcare workers are expected to vote on a strike mandate this fall. The official opposition now says that can't happen, so it wants government to get serious at the negotiating table. A bear expert is handing out some tips after a summer with a lot of dangerous bear activity. She says the first step in avoiding them altogether is putting away any food sources. And Connor Bedard is thankful for the privileged position he's in, calling his new contract with the Chicago Blackhawks life-changing money. The former Regina Pat was on the green zone on Wednesday. Now, CJME weather. Sunny and all the way up to 30 degrees on Thursday. A 60% chance of showers Thursday night with a low of 16. Then sunny and 31 on Friday. That's your 980 CJME News Update. I'm Lisa Schick.
Reliable, credible, local news you can trust. CJME.com.
You love your Case IH Combine. Who doesn't? But let me tell you, if you've ever had your concave hanger break, it's a terrible fix with dealership parts. This is Russ from Wilfong Enterprises. And that's why I invented a 2-piece, bolt-together split frame system. What used to take days now can be repaired in a matter of hours. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be out in the field than in the shop. Wilfong Enterprises. Visit IHateRocks.com.
Hi, got a cracked windshield? With the Speedy Glass team right here in Saskatchewan, it doesn't have to be a hassle. They make it simple and take care of the rest for you. Book your appointment online in minutes. And because all Speedy Glass locations in Saskatchewan are part of the SGI accredited glass repair network, their work meets high standards. And they handle your insurance claim too. So don't wait. Book at speedyglass.ca. Details and conditions at speedyglass.ca.
Speedy Glass Repair. Speedy Glass Replace.
Launch a rocket. Control a robot arm on your journey to space at the Saskatchewan Science Centre. Learn about the everyday life of an astronaut in space and how their weight could change depending on what planet they're on. It's everything and more about the great beyond at the Saskatchewan Science Centre. Exhibits, IMAX, mind-blowing entertainment. Take off on your journey to space. See SaskScienceCenter.com. Real science, real fun.
Every farmer knows when premium land comes up for sale, you don't have much time to decide. This remarkable offering includes over 12,500 acres of premium Saskatchewan farmland near Crono, large contiguous blocks in an outstanding location just southeast of Regina. The kind of land that rarely changes hands, the kind of opportunity that can shape an operation for decades. Tender closes August 11th at 12 p.m. Don't be the one saying, I wish I'd called.
Visit shepherdrealty.ca or call today for your complete information package.
The Rough Rider and Children's Hospital Foundation's lottery is back. Picture yourself driving up the Amalfi Coast or swimming in the crystal clear waters of Bora Bora. With 10 spectacular grand prizes and your best chance to win $1 million, the next big winner could be you. There are more than $2 million in prizes to be won, from luxury vehicles, bucket list vacations, to fantastic riders prizes. Play for Sask Kids. It's a win-win. Get your tickets at riderschildrenslottery.ca. Please play responsibly. Lottery license LR260015.
Evan's the voice of Saskatchewan, but we want to hear your
The
voice.
Snowbirds are such a Canadian institution, and it's really sad to see them go.
Say it, send it. Now taking your recorded voice memo.
Open a